interested in Lima One. Just one more question. How big do you think you can get in the next 5 years? JW, eager to give a straight answer, glanced at our investment banker, who responded with a subtle headshake. Don't do it. JW looked back to Irby and replied, We want to grow Lima One into a premier lending company that originates $500 million in loans annually. At that point, Irby closed our pitch book, leaned in, and looked at us. Well, guys, this has been a great meeting. But at my level, I can't waste my time on any business that's not aiming higher. I only invest in lenders that can originate at least $1 billion annually. We left empty-handed and somewhat stunned. That was the last time we ever assumed that the traditional business playbook would be more effective than our own instincts, honed by our experiences in radically different settings. We threw that playbook away and never looked back. Marine Corps values in the civilian world. The results we ultimately experienced at Lima One Capital were better than we'd ever dared to imagine. By hiring a mix of former Marines, other veterans, and lifelong civilians, and by teaching them the same principles and values that worked for us in combat, we built a team that was deeply committed, focused, creative, empowered, and energized. And we maintained all of those qualities as the staff grew from 0 to 200 plus over the course of a decade. The value of Lima One grew steadily as well, reaching 9 figures when we were finally ready to sell it in 2019. Then we started a new company, Gem Mining, in the even more unfamiliar space of cryptocurrency. Once again, Marine-style leadership is helping us achieve rapid success, even as the crypto industry goes through dramatic ups and downs. We wrote this book to help leaders and aspiring leaders at startups, Fortune 500 companies, nonprofits, religious and community groups, sports teams, and any other kind of organization. It's not abstract or theoretical, and mostly avoids military or business jargon. Our goal is to give you a straight-talking, practical guide to what you really have to do to lead like a Marine, even if you've never worn a uniform. After Part 1 shows you why this approach to leadership is so powerful, Part 2 explores the 9 key strategies for leading like a Marine. We explain and illustrate them with true stories from both the Marine Corps and our businesses. Many civilians assume that the success or failure of a military unit depends on the quality of its weapons and tactics, just as they assume that the success or failure of a business must depend on the appeal of its products. These skeptics see leadership, values, and culture as touchy-feely concepts that should be secondary at best, if not outright dismissed as a distraction. Maybe that's what they were taught when working for traditional companies, but they couldn't be more wrong. The touchy-feely stuff makes all the difference, whether you're facing a multi-pronged attack by heavily armed Al-Qaeda insurgents or merely trying to make your quarterly revenue goals. After you hear what we experienced in Iraq, and then in the business world, we believe you'll agree. Notes to the listener. To avoid any confusion between the two Johns throughout this book, we use our nicknames of JW for John Warren and Top for John Thompson. Top is Marine slang for a master sergeant. Sections labeled with those nicknames are from the perspective of just one of us. Most of the names in this book are real, but we have occasionally changed some names and identifying details to protect people's privacy. Part 1. Unlocking a Better Way to Lead. Chapter 1. Run towards a challenge. Walk in our boots. While you don't need to be a Marine to reap the benefits of Marine-style leadership, you will need to walk in our boots for a while to fully understand it. So before we dig into the 9 key leadership strategies, let us show you how they actually played out in combat during a life-or-death crisis in the most dangerous city on Earth. 3 years after the U.S. invasion of Iraq deposed Saddam Hussein, Ramadi had declined from a proud and vibrant city into a focal point for anarchy. 400,000 Sunnis inhabited its tightly packed mix of tall buildings and low-rise compounds. Various guerrilla factions, especially Al-Qaeda, were engaged in a bloody struggle for power and posed a constant threat to U.S. forces. Whenever we went out on a patrol, we knew that at any moment we might be